It was 1994. Tonya Harding was clubbing knees. Woodstock 94 was ruining a cultural heritage, and Nintendo introduced a blast from the past: Donkey Kong Country. Often heralded as the greatest platformer of all time, Donkey Kong Country was released in November 1994. Back in 1994, Nintendo and Sega were going at it. It was, you know, you either were a Nintendo guy or you a Sega guy. Nintendo was in my mind clearly winning, because they were going at it in two different ways. Sega released different adapters to their system. The Sega CD, you had the 32X, that all plugged into the Sega Genesis. The Nintendo took their games and created a monumental game inside their cartridge. Which I think is brilliant. The developers of Donkey Kong Country was actually Rare. In 1985, they created Rare. They went through and created different things, different games like Battletoads or Witches and Wizards, whatever. They came to Donkey Kong Country and they developed it. Nintendo owned the rights to Donkey Kong. And Rare said, you know, hey, we could create a game with Donkey Kong. They said, you know, show us what you got. And they came up with Donkey Kong Country and presented it to Nintendo. And Nintendo was so impressed that they bought like 49% of Rare Entertainment. It was the first game created by Rareware, not by the Donkey Kong creator, Shigeru Miyamoto. Shigeru Miyamoto. We're all good. Let's go. Donkey Kong Country takes you to a land, Donkey Kong Island, where King K. Rool has stolen all the bananas from Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong's pissed and wants to get them back. He wants all his Donkey Kong bananas back that King K. Rool has stolen. And he's willing to do anything to get them. So you go through all these levels and you beat the bosses to get back the bananas that King K. Rool has stolen. Donkey Kong has to defeat all these different Kremling bad guys. You know, the storyline that permeates the game of Donkey Kong is kind of weak. It's kind of weak. They could have come up with a better storyline, because you really don't know why King K. Rool stole the bananas.
You okay?
Yep. All good. The main protagonists in Donkey Kong Country are Donkey and Diddy Kong, which have very different personalities during the game. Donkey Kong, if you play with Donkey Kong mainly, he can kill guys in one shot. You don't have to worry about bouncing off them and not being able to kill them. You can kill guys in one shot. Diddy Kong, which is actually my favorite, you can be more agile and jump over guys and get onto platforms and everything else with a lot more ease than Donkey Kong can. One of the greatest things that Nintendo did with this game was create the ancillary characters. You had Cranky Kong, who gave you tips and hints through the game. You had Funky Kong, who was the cool little guy that you knew. I don't know if he was a relative or what, but he fast traveled you. I mean, fast travel is a more of a nowadays term, but you fast traveled to different parts of the game. Candy Kong saved. Drinking Champshine. This is champagne and moonshine mixed. I'll tell you what, Donkey Kong Country had a lot of different kinds of levels. They had jungle levels early on. You have the core levels, which are underwater levels, and I'm sure someone out there probably likes the underwater levels, but I hate them. It reversed the physics. Normally you're used to jumping up. This one, whenever you press the button, you went up, but there was probably a fish up above you, which stopped you from going up. My favorite levels in Donkey Kong Country have to be the minecart levels. It's because it pushed the action. With normal levels, you can sit there and wait for a bee to go up and down and up and down and cross and all that kind of good stuff. In minecart levels, it pushed the action. The Temple Ruins were also a great level. You had different rolling blocks a la Indiana Jones, where you tried to, they tried to kill you and you just kept going. Yeah, I think that's the correlation between the minecart and the Temple Ruins, is that you had to keep going through the levels. One of the greatest levels they had, besides the minecart, was the stop and go station. One of the parts I had a really problem with Donkey Kong Country was the boss fights. You get through all these levels, you struggle, you try through all these levels, and you get to the boss fights, and they're extremely repetitive. that you don't have to have any like special skill or worry about anything. They don't really put any thought into the boss fights, because the first boss fight to the last boss fight is the same thing. That's 165 proof. That's what I'm having with champagne. Donkey Kong Country is a great game, but it is made even better by the music that permeates every level. Donkey Kong Country had a lot of great 3D graphics, pre-rendered 3D graphics, that made it feel, at the time, real life. You played this game and you just believed that you were in the game. I remember back in 1994 when Donkey Kong Country came out, I thought it was the greatest graphics I had ever seen. Donkey Kong Country pushed the technological limits of Super Nintendo. While Sega was releasing 32-bit graphics, Donkey Kong Country said, F you, we can come up with great graphics at 16-bit. Donkey Kong Country was one of the greatest games ever created, evidenced by it being sold as the second most popular game on the Super Nintendo. It had great levels, it had memorable levels, it had great characters. Albeit its shortcomings, it still delivered the best graphics of the time and the best levels of the time. And that's why I'd give the Donkey Kong Country 4 out of 5 stars.
Not a bad one. What else you got over there? You should also look at my collection when we get one.
The Battle of